So as we continue with our discussion of rational expressions, we're going to move into adding and subtracting. We've already looked at simplifying, we've looked at multiplying, dividing, and now we'll look at adding and subtracting. And just like we did with the other operations, we're going to look at a numerical example first. Of course, you guys probably know that when you add and subtract fractions in general, you have to have a common denominator. And so that's going to be a key part of our discussion. So let's look at a numerical example. First of all, if you have a common denominator, it's very simple to add fractions. Or if you have something like 5/7 minus 2/7, when you're adding or subtracting, as long as the denominators are the same, you simply combine the numerators and leave the denominators the same. So you would have 5 minus 3, or 5 minus 2 is 3, and the 7 stays on the bottom. So very simple, arithmetic when you have a common denominator. And so if you have larger rational expressions that have the same denominator, you can treat them the same way. You just add or subtract the numerators and then leave the denominator the same. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Something like x plus 2 over x minus 1, add x plus 7 over x minus 1. Okay, and so here we have two rational expressions. They're being added together, and they have the same denominator of x minus 1. Well, I can simply add the numerators then. So I have x plus 2 plus x plus 7. Combine like terms. X plus x is 2x. Right? 2 plus 7 is 9. And the common denominator is x minus 1 on the bottom. And we're done. Okay, so these don't, if they already have a common denominator, they don't take a whole lot of work. It's just to combine the numerators and leave the denominator the same. Now, if you get to this point and you can simplify the fraction, you should. This one doesn't simplify, but there could be examples where you may be able to simplify a denominator. So here I have x plus 3 plus x plus 1 all over x plus 2. Well, each of them over x plus 2, I should say. I'm jumping the gun here. Because I'm adding again with like denominators, I can just add the two numerators together over the same denominator. So x plus x is 2x, 3 plus 1 is 4, and the common denominator is x plus 2. Again, remember that when you simplify a fraction, you have to factor the numerator and denominator and then cancel common factors. Well, here we nicely have a factorable numerator. I can pull out a 2. That leaves me with an x plus 2. And on the bottom, another x plus 2. And so I can cancel the common factor off, and we're left simply with a 2 as our simplified form. So these two rational expressions, when added together, will always give me a value of 2. Okay. So again, with a like denominator, we're just adding the numerators or subtracting. I'll show you an example of a subtraction as well, and then simplifying when needed. Okay. Let's look at another example. Okay, so here's another example. I've got a common denominator with the subtraction. And now to combine these, I just want to simply combine the numerators, but the subtraction applies to everything on the right. And so it distributes to both of those terms. So you can think of it, I'll add an extra step here in my writing so that you can see what's going on. You distribute that negative, so it's 5x squared minus x squared. Okay, so this subtraction applies to both of those terms, or distributes to both of them. And then of course we have the x minus 3 on the bottom. Now on the top I'm going to simplify or combine like terms. So 5x squared minus x squared is going to be 4x squared minus x all over x minus 3. And then again, we always want to factor and try to reduce or simplify these if we can. The numerator here, I can pull out an x, leaves me with a 4x minus 1. And I have an x minus 3 on the bottom. At this point, I cannot reduce. I don't have any common factors to the top and bottom. And so this is going to be my final answer. Okay. Now I would accept this in the unfactored form as well because it doesn't reduce. So it doesn't really matter which form you choose there. Okay.